Lockdown is amazing, but these two things that I'm about to talk about in today's video should never happen. Now, Lockdown is an amazing game mode, best edition we've ever had in my opinion, but it's not perfect and there's a couple gripes I have with it, specifically pertaining to the lockups, and it's mostly to do with the spawns. So the first gripe I have with lockups is that there are actual stock cars that spawn. Now I don't know whose idea it was to put stock cars in lockups, but it must have been a joke. I honestly don't understand why they thought this was a good idea. One theory I have as to why they do exist though, and honestly it might be a little far-fetched, but the only reason I can think of as to why there are stock cars in lockups relates to people being annoyed with the challenges that you need to complete to unlock cars, such as complete a certain number of playlists. I mean, if we take a look back at the end of Volume 6 report, they actually responded to someone that said the challenges were really monotonous, and in their response they did state that they're looking for ways to make unlocking cars easier or in potentially different ways. My theory is that they put stock cars in lockups as an alternative to actually doing the challenges, and this may be one of the different ways they were talking about. As I said, this is a very far-fetched theory, and it wouldn't even make sense if that was the case, to be honest, because the spawns are random, so there's no guarantee of you actually getting the car that you're trying to avoid doing challenges for, but there's always a chance that you might get a car that you're actually looking for or that you're trying to unlock, and that's the only reason I can think of for them adding stock cars to lockups. Like, I was in a lockdown session one time and I got back-to-back stock Cayman 718 Spiders. Back to back. I mean, it's bad enough getting one stock car, but then to go to another lockup to not only see another stock car, but the exact same stock car from the previous lockup is seriously demoralizing, especially when you consider the limited number of lockup spawns, but we'll get onto that later. That leads me on to my next point, and this might be a controversial one and people might not agree with me on this one, but I personally don't think there should be more than one of the same car in a lockdown session. Now, I understand that having multiple spawns for one car allows several players to be able to get the same car. For example, if Razer's M3 GTR spawned twice in the same session, it would give two players a chance to add that car to their collection, which is obviously great for both those players. However, it's very rare that a blacklist car would spawn twice in one session anyway, and when you consider the fact that there are a maximum of 5 lockups per session, for 2 of those to be taken up by the same car, it just reduces the chances of other good cars spawning, including other blacklist rides. Like, look at this clip here for example. I got to the first lockup that Razer unlocked, and it was a Nissan GTR, so I already had that car, so I thought, okay, I'll leave it and I'll wait for the next lockup. I go to the next lockup, and guess what car was there? You guessed it, the same exact Nissan GTR from the previous lockup. No way. Zio, I swear we went to one before and it had this exact same car in it. You cannot be serious right now, bro. The lockup over here had this car in it. Are you actually serious, bro? Now, to tie both these points together, no one wants to see stock vehicles in lockups. I think the majority of the community can agree on that. But when you can load into a session of lockdown and potentially see 2 of the same stock vehicles in lockups throughout, it's definitely frustrating. I mean, alluding to my experience with the 2 stock Caymans, it would have been fine if it was just one. Of course, I'd rather not see any stock cars at all, but it would have been fine if the very next one wasn't also a stock Cayman. So both of these points kind of compound each other and are both things that I don't think should happen in lockdown, or at least happen less frequently. Now, both of these things here that I just talked about wouldn't really be a problem if there were more lockup spawns on the map. I mean, look at how many lockups there are in total. Shout out to Reddit user xlord Voltorn Army for this image here. There are so many possible lockup spawns, yet we're limited to just 5 per session. So having stock vehicles and duplicate vehicles take up more than one of those spawns, it just sucks. And that's one thing I would like to see in a future update to lockdown, is an increase in lockup spawns, maybe to like 8 or 10. That way, if 2 are taken up by stock or duplicate vehicles, at least there'll be a decent amount of lockups left for potentially something good, such as blacklist rides or more customs. So what do you guys think? Do you think there should be stock vehicles in lockups? Do you agree that there shouldn't be duplicate vehicles in lockups? What are your thoughts in lockups in general and the lockdown game mode? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.